Hey guys, it's Dave. Today I want to do something a little bit different for this channel. I want to look back at all of the plants that we have potted up together, kind of get a progress report. If there's anything I have tried to do on this channel, it is to demystify Hoya specifically. I think the way we talk about them and they're presented, we kind of get the idea that they're prima donnas, that they hate to be repotted, that you don't dare touch their vines or their roots, leave them alone, etc. and so on. And friends, they are just plants. They are just plants. And we've potted up a bunch of them. Let's put our money where my mouth is. No better place to start than at the beginning. And that was a Hoya boati, a very fast growing plant from the Philippines that I had dry rotted out, and there was not much left to salvage out of that plant. And I was very cautiously optimistic, but emphasis on cautiously. And here she is now, looking really, really good. Got a nice healthy growth tip on there. These are the top 4 leaves are brand new. That's of course a little bitty tiny one. But this one is past ready really to be put in my normal substrate. We're going to call this one a success. Next up was the Hoya Sunshine MB1594, a Mike Bernardo creation. So we have all heard that Hoya will not grow until they are comfortable in their pot, until the roots have filled the pot, until they have settled in, etc. So that obviously must be correct. Or is it correct? We repotted these on April 27th. And today it is June 20th. And this is how they are looking now. Looking stellar in terms of Hoya not growing until they're comfortable in their pot. There's new growth. By the way, this is not all of them. I have sold several and I have more in the tent upstairs, but these are growing in ambient conditions just downstairs here. Normal living quarters. Lots of new growth there. This is one I'm keeping for myself because I was particularly impressed with it. And look at all of this new growth. So again, myth busted. Some Hoyas do take a while to get going, and I have a couple of those, believe me, at least 3. But a lot of you already know that I don't believe in hard and fast rules, and this is a great example of that. These started growing the minute I put them in their new substrate, and they aren't going to stop. I assure you of that. I've got a lot of experience with this plant. Great plant. Next up is Hoya Sunrise. She has made 2 appearances in our videos. One when she was looking pretty good, but it was showing some stress signs with really dehydrated leaves at the bottom of the long vines. Repotted her up, hoping for the best, hoping there were enough good roots that it would be able to take care of the plant. It did not. It never did get better. So you may have seen a very recent video where I chopped her all the way back. We originally repotted Miss Sunrise April 30th, and I have 3 large containers of perlite, and she's in the tent right now and looking good. They are all hydrated. All of the vines have survived, and all of the peduncles have survived and are trying to bud out. We'll see if that actually happens. So was this one a success story? It defines success. I didn't completely lose the plant, but it's certainly not what I had hoped for back when I repotted it. But it really was sort of my natural optimism coming through, where I just really wanted to make that transfer to a larger pot and have it work, and it did not. And fortunately, I was keeping an eye on it, realized it, and just bit the bullet, chopped it up, and I'm going to be able to make a lot of great plants out of that one, including a really large one for me. So we'll give this a 6.5 out of 10, being generous. As recently as May 7th, we retrellis my Nicholsonian New Guinea Ghost. This is what we trellised up. And my goodness, is this looking fan-freaking-tastic. Absolutely stunning. Such a beautiful plant. I think y'all know this is one of my very, very favorite plants in the collection. And I've been calling this mint, but I think seafoam green is what I'm going to upgrade it to. For the propagations, well, let's just look at what this plant can do. It can sunstress into this lavender pinky-ish color, which is really, really pretty. I like seafoam green, but a lot of people are going to prefer this. This one is in perlite. Sorry to just jam this back in your face, because the leaves were very floppy and not getting hydrated in the substrate that I usually use. Many of you are going to be very familiar with it now, but it's Cocoa Coir, Cocoa Chip, and number 3 perlite. My favorite products are, of course, linked in the description. But look how quickly this is rooted right through the bottom, growing it directly into the substrate that it is going to live in. So now some of these will, of course, be sold to support my hobby here, but they're looking absolutely, every single one of them grew fantastically well. Roots already coming out of the bottom. New growth. I don't know if I showed you the new growth. Great looking new growth there. Happy and beautiful plants. So again, myth busted. Not all Hoya are slow. Not all Hoya need to settle into their pot. If you think about it, it wouldn't be a great plan for a Hoya to only grow roots. If there's no foliage, there's no chlorophyll. And if there's no chlorophyll, there ain't no plant. I'm feeling a little self-conscious right now. I don't usually film in the morning, and I haven't even brushed my teeth yet. I don't know. I think we're okay. Let me know. Hoya obscura didn't skip a beat. We repotted her and we repotted Rebecca the same day. That was May 13th. This plant's never looked better. We upgraded its pot size. We upgraded its potting mix. This is one that likes to stay a bit on the drier side. Respect that, or you will have some root rot to deal with. Ask me how I know. But looking absolutely, positively fan-freaking-tastic. I got a lot of feedback on doing a plant room setup video. I'm sure I'll look like a giant dork doing it. I don't know how to do those. But this is gonna be getting a lot more light when I get it in its permanent home. Right now it is basically completely growing under a Soltech Solutions lamp, the Vita bulb. So looking great. As I said in that same video, we repotted Rebecca. Did you see my very recent video where I brought her out of the tent? Quite a few flowers on her. She spent about half an hour in the air conditioning. I put her back in the tent and she spit off every single flower and a peduncle just to do it. So, my bad. But she's a prolific bloomer, no big deal, and she looks fantastic. Also, didn't skip a beat and has put on a ton of new growth since she went into a larger pot with better substrate. So again, another myth busted. This plant is nowhere near getting comfortable in this pot and it's growing like crazy. So take that for what it's worth. I hope it's worth something. A little, just a little something. Okay, this is going to be straight up cheating, but it is my channel. It comes with privileges. On May 17th in the It's Easy to Be Green video, I mentioned the Hoya Exotica props I had. I've got an entire prop box of these beautiful variegated plants. One of two variegated Hoya that I own. Carnosa. No, this is not a Hoya Princess. This is from, oh gosh, whose nursery did the hybrid of this? I'll put it on the screen. But more plants that I took maybe 10 or 12 cuttings from. They're growing like mad right away. I think Carnosa is another one of those that has a reputation for growing slow. When I do cuttings, I do one node and 2 leaves as often as possible. So a variety from this kind of smaller size that's putting on some really nice growth, 2 new growth points that I can see from here, new leaves, to some that are growing more aggressively. You know, it depends on where it comes from on the vine. It's just odd how that works. You can have 2 different vines from the same plant, and one will just start off very slowly, and then the other one, all of the props from the other one will grow much, much more quickly. That's the case with this. I've got maybe 3 or 4 trellised up. This one's on a stake. I have another one on a stake. And then I have smaller plants that are coming along just fine. But anyway, whole bunch of props doing just great. As you can see, not comfortable in the pot, not rooted in, growing just great. On May 22nd, on Holy Hoya Trellising, I believe was the title, we did a bunch of plants. Let's start out with the slow growers. So here we have the Berdinii. Definitely looking good, but hasn't put on a lot of growth. And that was a month ago. So, you know, on a slower growing plant like this, doesn't surprise me and it doesn't worry me. This is species Sabah, looking really good. But again, it's just getting comfortable in there, and I'm sure over the course of this summer it's going to be looking really, really good. This is the Hoya Elajorum. I still don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm just copying what I have seen on YouTube. Looking healthy and working on a new growth point, but not a whole lot going on with that one. But these are 3 successes. They aren't going downhill, and that's a success anytime you repot a plant. Now, Penny's Treat. Ooh, baby. She is looking fantastic. She is growing. She's putting on nice sun stressing while keeping darker leaves. And the woman who sold this to me, I sent her a picture of this. Hers is, by her words, very, very light green, kind of that bleached out color that some plants that get very high light get. Mine doesn't have that. That's a beautiful plant. I am really looking forward to having that long term in my collection. We also did the Hoya Mendorensis. This is one of, I think I have 3 or 4 now. I have my big one that's in the tent right now. This one is living in ambient conditions in my living room. So it got chopped, it got potted up, it got put out of the tent into ambient conditions. And while it hasn't exactly taken off, I'm not surprised. That's a lot of change for a plant. But it's looking good, showing no signs of stress at all. And it's had plenty of time that if it was going to, it would be. So very happy with those. But the big dog out of that repot was the Magnifica. And this is, I can't remember, IML 0152. IML stands for Iris Marie Little, very famous botanist with her husband, whatever his name was, who cares. Big fuzzy leaves. Very gorgeous plant. Same friend that sold me the Penny's Treat saw this in a video and was really impressed with how far this one has come along. So, doesn't look maybe quite as good as it did on the round wire trellis because I have spread it out so much, but this is an extremely fast growing plant and I'm thinking of the future. You know, I don't want to have to repot it up again and again. Most of the leaves that were coming out when I re-trellised this and repotted it lived. And then it has a number of new growth points. My light is in the way, so I don't know if you can see that. But there are a few different growth points, a lot of leaves that are coming on. I cracked my friend up because this was a plant when I was picking a pot that I said something like conventional wisdom or conventional advice would be to pick up whatever smaller pot I was looking at, and I said, but I'm going to go my own way as I always do. And it's funny because it's true, but it's backed up with experience. I don't just willy-nilly make decisions and hope for the best. Well, except for repotting the sunrise. That's about as far as I go. So I put this in a really large pot. This is a plant that doesn't want to dry out, so I was feeling pretty confident that this would do well. I did not expect all those little tiny baby leaves to live. I think so far only one off this whole vine has died off. So this is going to be a very full plant in the next, I'd say in a month, if we did an update on it, it's going to be a huge plant. As it stands, it is a gorgeous plant right now. On June 4th, we potted up some seedlings and we sowed some seed. And on the whole, they're doing very good. I have only one moment here. I have only one that didn't, well, it germinated and then it died off. So hopefully it wasn't because I forgot to keep it moist. But that means that 9 out of 10 of the seeds germinated. And then we have the seedlings that we potted up. And those on the whole are looking really, really great. Few yellow leaves, nothing I'm going to worry about. Not at all. So look how healthy they look. There's just tons of new growth on here. I mean, they look magnificent. And this is, the Papashoni is such a really unique terrestrial growing Hoya. And someday I will be able to share those with you or someone in the world out there. And then we have just one last plant. And that plant was the Epiprimnum Cebu Blue. And June 7th is when we potted this up. So it has not been long, but it did not skip a beat. I have said that a few times in this video, but it is looking great. It has new growth up top, and it has leaves coming on down below. Now, it hasn't been long at all, so there aren't new growth points growing out all over the place, except at the top, where there are just a bunch of new leaves. You know, a node gets activated and out comes new growth. So it will grow in time down here very quickly, but this plant looks absolutely fantastic. Couldn't be happier. Guys, I almost dropped the ball on this one. I was taking my wife to work when it occurred to me that I had left out one of the quintessential, greatest Hoya in my entire collection, Jennifer.